Hey everyone, I'm Carolyn from Tranquil Mentor. I've recently purchased a laser cutter and engraver and have joined the laser community. Today we'll be making a lemon tier tray and I could not find the items already made. So I went into Creative Fabrica and found some SVG lemon files and modified the images for laser cutting. They are cut from 1/8 of an inch of hardboard from Home Depot. Since I haven't painted on hardboard yet, I'm experimenting with different paints. Some are from Dollar Tree, the Acrylology brand. Some are from Walmart, the Apple Barrel brand. And some are from my local craft stores. And I do have some baby wipes there to help wipe off, clean up some of the paint. And coverage is the main factor here. You just need something that is going to cover is, say, a primer, and that's what I'm working on finding out here. And I did go with the Dollar Tree brand first, the Acrylology, and as you could see, the masonite, or actually hardboard as they say, is really drinking up the paint. So since this is experimentation, we're just looking around to try to see what will work, and I didn't mind maybe doing a few coats just to see how that would work, but I'm still going to search for some other methods here. And this is the I'm still trying Acrylology white, just trying to see how that would cover, and you pretty much see that it's the same thing, is that you can see through, and it's really not offering good coverage at this point. So the Acrylology paint is good for a lot of different things, but it's just not good as a primer coat. And then here I'm just wiping off the edges just to get that some of that wet paint off. And I've got my baby wipe handy, and I've got some parchment paper underneath, which usually really helps with cleanup. And those lemon slices I put masking tape on, and here I'm going to experiment next with some Waverly chalk paint. And it looks like we have some great coverage here, just what I was looking for. It could be used as a primer in this situation for the hardboard. I might go back and call it masonite because that's just what a brand name that I've grown up with to know, but it's really hardboard from Home Depot, and it's 1/8 of an inch. So looks like we've got really great coverage here. This is a good find. I just happen to have this chalk paint in my arsenal of craft supplies and thought, you know, since I wasn't getting the coverage, I'd give this a try. So with the masking tape holding the pieces together, I do have some paint in between. So I'm just going to take my baby wipe here and clean this up a bit. And the edges when you laser cut are dark, and some people like that, and you know, to show, and some people don't like it. I've learned too that you can, and I didn't do this yet, take denatured alcohol and clean up the edges, because they get kind of, you know, charcoaly, and they get this oily based pigment on them, which is brownish. So I didn't do that at this point yet. So with the knowledge that that the chalk paint works, I have base coated a lot of the items, and you know, I do have more items that I cut too. And I'm gonna try this out here. What I've done here is I took the chalk paint, the white chalk paint, and I mixed that yellow Acrylology in it. And for my second coat, I don't have that real yellow color like the Acrylology originally was. I've got it softened up a little bit, so to speak. And using that chalk paint as a base really helped, because I was able to get the color I needed from the Acrylology from Dollar Tree, and I was also able to get the coverage of that primer, so to speak, or base. Here, for the sake of the video, I was trying to use my heat gun to get this dry faster, and it sort of worked. I don't think I would recommend it. It's not a good idea, because what happened was I ended up with really not getting it as dry, and you'll see that I pull the paint almost right back off. So, but it can work if you need it to. You just have to wait it out a little bit and put more coats on it. And in this stage, I'm really just learning how everything works. I did see a YouTuber paint her hardboard before cutting, and I thought that was pretty interesting too. And I didn't do it yet because I just wasn't sure how I was going to approach everything. So this is my learning right here. And then you could see that little spot there that just wasn't going to cover. So I do end up waiting it out and letting everything dry. I think I went and had dinner and came back out. So right here is my mixture again of the white chalk paint, Snow White. And here, what I did with this cutting board, I made it way too big, but I took the brown paint and I squeegeed it into the engraving part. And then the other parts of it, I just wiped off. And I painted it with khaki color paint by Apple Barrel. And I just went through with a baby white after to make it look old and to make it look really worn. So the lemonade part could have probably stayed the darker color, and I know that now. So that is just what I did to rectify it really and get it to what I wanted. And it actually didn't turn out too bad. Sometimes mistakes are how we learn and come up with other ideas. And here's a picture that I got from Creative Fabrica. I think the lemons are from Creative Fabrica too. And I use this Dollar Tree gel glue, and I can get them in little packages. And then I got my Mod Podge, and I painted the lemonade. And then I'm taking this brush here, and I'm going to Mod Podge these lemons on and just place them where I want them. But I just printed those out on my printer, and I hand cut them out, and just your basic Mod Podge type of strategy here. And I use this fan brush because I really like how it spreads the glue on. Another good way of doing that would be to put the Mod Podge on first, then put your design on, and then that way you could slip it and move it around a little bit. And I've got some of these sponge sand blocks. One of them is from Dollar Tree. The other one I think is from Sally's for nails. And I just like the way that it works. It's smaller and it's rougher in some spots. And I'm off screen here a little bit, so I'm sorry about that. I was trying not to sand over my other items here. But I'm just roughing up the edges a little bit on, just sanding them to give them a look. Give them a distressed look. And here, these are from Temu. They're little, I know some people call them waffles, but they look like little pieces of chocolate to me. But anyway, I took the air dry clay, and these are also 3D printed lemons, and I printed them with white filament. And I'm going to let the other little chocolate bars there dry, but that is clay from Dollar Tree, the yellow. And right now, to paint the lemons is tricky. It's a lot like painting beads. So I'm grabbing a plastic bag, and I'm taking my acrylology paint, and I just put them in the baggie, and then we'll squeeze a little bit of that acrylology yellow, and we'll squeeze a tiny bit. And you don't need a lot to do this. I used to put so much in and learned that you really only need a tiny little bit to get all the coverage. And this is really good if you have beads or something like this that's hard to paint, and you just want to be able to get some color on them and maybe make a beaded garland or something like that. And sometimes I alternate the beads and I might put a little bit of color in them. But here I'm making lemons for the tier tray, and then also the lemons are going to be put in a little bin that I 3D printed, and they'll go in front of my lemonade stand, or actually on the tier tray too. I think I'm going to do that. And then I do have extra left over when I get done, but you can see inside the bag here I've got it all set. And now I'm going to take them, and I always use a paper plate because there's a lot of room on it. And then I'm going to take them. I'm satisfied with the way that they look, and they're covered. So here I'll take the plate, and I apologize again for being out of screen like that, but I have so many other things going on here, and I'm letting those pieces dry, so I'm doing another activity while they dry. And there's our lemons, and what we'll do is I will leave them out to dry, and I really let them dry overnight, and it comes out good if I let them dry overnight like that. And then here, this is my first time attaching my laser cut items. So what I did was I took that pencil and I traced around the edges of the lemon, and I'm just taking my Dollar Tree glue here that I get. I get them in the smaller packages because other glue dries up and I just don't use it enough. So I get these little containers and use them. And I'm just going to press this other hardboard piece on here, my other circle. And I'm trying, I keep attempting to hold all these pieces together, and then I made the marks with the pencil so that I could line them back up. And what I've seen people do is do a light etching, and they trace the etching in the file will trace where the pieces go, and then they line them up. But here, this works for me for now, and after I get them situated, I realize too that I can line them up anyway by eye. The glue is forgiving enough, the gel, and that's another thing I like about the Dollar Tree glue is that it's gel, and there's forgiveness there. You can move things around a little bit and then clean it up. And lemons aren't perfect every time, so if some of the pieces are off a little bit, that's okay too. Either way, it just depends on how you like things and how you feel about it. But at first I just couldn't picture how I was going to do it, and then I'm just using my brush to get a space here, and then some little paper towel to wipe off that extra glue. And I take it and look at it and just see how it looks, and just keep an eye on it to keep recentering the pieces. And what I'll do is I'll get these all glued on, and I really don't think it was that big of a problem where, I'm glad that I did the tape, the masking tape, and tape the pieces together, because that really did help keep them together and keep them organized. But overall, I don't think it would have been a problem to eyeball this, so to speak. But that looks really good. And what I'll do is I'll just finish gluing those down. And here's a piece of lemon that I've distressed with the leaf. And I'm going to take that. I did do a couple lemons. And lemons with the leaves on, the full ones. And I'm just taking a little bit of glue, seeing where the glue has to go. Some of these I did paint the back. I think a lot of them, if I knew they were going to show on the tier tray, which they will, I did paint the back. The back is not real pretty or anything on the hardboard. It does have a pattern, but it does look nice if you paint it. And I'm just going to hold that down. And I used my just basic green and painted that. I think that was the paint from Michael's. And here is my rind. Now that back piece there, when I originally cut this file out, my half slice, I cut it all the way through, and it just didn't work out. It was too snug. So I went back in to Inkscape and I just drew a half of a circle, and cut that out. And then I'm taking my rind and putting that on the back. But it fit together when I originally cut it. It fit together like a puzzle, and it just wasn't going in the way that I wanted it to. And this was an easier workaround. There is a way that you can use something called kerf, and you can calculate your kerf, and that will put it in, allow you to put them together as a puzzle almost. And it just wasn't what I was looking for. So here I'm taking the piece and lining it back up and just getting it in there and positioning it till I like it. And then you just hold some pressure down and that'll get it glued. And I really like the way that it came out. It was just from a file, and I'm so glad that I did that way. And here, for our cupcake that's going to go on the tier tray, I've done a print and cut. I did this pattern in Creative Fabrica. It's their Spark, which is their AI. And I did a blue floral pattern, and this is how it turned out. And then I found a cupcake wrapper in Creative Fabrica files, and I'll link that below also. And I just took my light grip mat and just some really nice paper, which is really printer paper, but really good quality. And then I usually just I get this the size that I need, and then I take a piece of Scotch tape or something and I tape that in the back. Now there's a little bit of white at the very bottom. That doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, you can always take a scissor and just trim very close. And here is my Wilton bag that has been used and used. I take a paper towel after every time I use it. I don't let anything go down the drain, but I put my topping, my fake whipped topping in here, my spackle, and I just wipe it out with a paper towel till there's nothing left, because you don't want to put that down your drain. And here's my cup that I use to put my spackle in. And I use this because it's tall, and also because my son made it, and I love having it. So I have the spackle that I get from Home Depot. And that cupcake there's a tutorial on that, and I'll link that below, on how I made the cupcakes. It's from a spray that you use to fill holes. And here's my Fast and Final, and that is the spackle that I'm going to be using. I have a little bit left over, and that white piece of paper over in the corner there is my hot cocoa, my Ray Dunn inspired hot cocoa mug. That's about the shape of the top. So I would be putting my topping on that white square in there. And the piece of cardboard is just so that I can hold it and turn it. But here's my larger, I went and got a little bit of a larger spackle because I was using the Fast and Final lightweight spackle. And I just decided that since I was doing so much of the fake bakes, that I would get a larger container. And there's even a larger one. So I just went for the mid-range here. And what I'm doing now is just getting my spackle into my Wilton bag. And the Wilton bags are at Walmart. They just work better for me. I don't blow through them like some of the other ones. And, maybe later on down the road when I get better hang of this, I won't have to use the Wilton bags and I could use something a little bit more affordable. But these, I've been reusing them. I think I got 3 or 4 in a pack at Walmart. And then that's a Dollar Tree foam ball. And I usually keep those on hand. I'm actually running out of them, so I'm going to grab some at Dollar Tree when I can next time. I walk by them all the time in the aisle and forget to grab them. But here I'm taking just a plastic knife and I'm cutting the styrofoam ball in half. And that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to hot glue the bottom of the styrofoam ball. And I have my hot glue gun on medium, if there is a medium. I think it's just low temp. And, because the styrofoam melts if you don't. So I put that on low temp. And I'm generously putting some hot glue on. And my glue gun is glued upside down. So I'm just going to hold on to it while I press that ball in. There we go. Doesn't stand up if it's backwards. All right, and now I have that glued on and it's dry. And I'm taking my spackle mixture here, and I'm just going to hold that cardboard, and I've got it a little bit, it's a little bit chalkier today, but what I'm doing here is I'm going to start pushing in on it. Instead of just going in one big circle, I'm just going to push in and just make a little bit of a different design. Get it a little bit more interesting than just the regular straight line that I do, so to speak. So here, I'd love to have a little Lazy Susan for this, but I'm just picking it up and moving it around. And it does work this way, but what would be good is a little mini Lazy Susan. I could make that pretty easily. I have to come up with that. I'm sure they're around. If I thought of it, they're probably around already. But there we go. We've got our whipped topping, our fake whipped topping. And that's going to be our top for our Ray Dunn inspired hot cocoa mug. There is a cherry. I grabbed some cherries and some lemons from Temu. And that Temu, I just absolutely love it. I've been able to buy so many things for fake bakes on there for just a tiny bit or a fraction of the cost. I love Temu, and I constantly have an order going through them. And also those are some lemon slices and orange slices, and I'm going to put that lemon slice right here. I bought 2 packages of these because I wanted to be able to have a lot of them. And here I'm going to pierce through with a skewer into the styrofoam ball. And I want to put a straw in there. So I usually do take a skewer and I put it in, and then I put the straw on it, already about to the size that I want. And then I just cut the skewer and I leave that in. And that keeps it nice and sturdy. And we also know it's into the foam, the styrofoam. All right, and then here's my little Temu lemon slices that I got. And I got them all in little bottles. I bought strawberries, bananas, I mean everything. There was a ton of them. And I also have that video too, that Temu haul with those on there. And I just take a bunch of lemon slices and put them all around. And I wanted this to look very yellow. Even though I had the strawberry, I wanted it just yellow, yellow, yellow. So here are another Temu item. These are not the little styrofoam balls that are from like Dollar Tree. I did buy some of those too, but these are plastic. So they've got some weight to them and they're a little bit easier to work with. The ones from Dollar Tree, I love them, but they always have static, and I've got a spray static guard in them. These are heavier and they were well worth the money. They're just so much easier to work with. And I took yellow out and I put yellow in. And then here's those air dry, I guess chocolate bars, waffles maybe. I think they're supposed to be chocolate bars, but I wanted that in yellow too. And that air dry clay from Dollar Tree just comes in so handy. If you can find, whenever you find colors there, just grab them because you can use them for everything. And that mold that I showed you before, that's also from Temu. And that haul, I believe, is on, and I can link to it. I may have a second haul that I haven't done yet, so I'll have to check into that. But anyway, here's some glitter, yellow glitter. And that glitter has been around for a long time. I got it from Joann's years and years ago. And what I usually do is I put the glitter on, and then I take the parchment paper and I move it away. And then that way I have the glitter. So I always try to do 2 or 3 layers when I'm working with this of parchment paper. And it just makes it easier to clean up. And then also I can put my glitter off to the side and reuse it for the next one. And then I put it back. So I've had it for a long time. And then here's that straight line technique that I'm talking about. And I do that on cupcakes, but I'm getting a little bit of a problem in here. But I just keep going. And sometimes you're going to get a little blob or something like that, and you just keep going. I mean, cupcakes are not always perfect, and that's what makes them unique, is that they have a special pattern to them. And right here, you don't have to go as high as this. You can go lower. You don't have to put a peak on it or anything. You can do anything you want. And then here's some Temu strawberries, and very affordable also. And just from that haul, I was able to really take my fake bakes to another level and have the items that I need on hand. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll make a lot of stuff, which I think is good too, to be able to either 3D print something or make it with a mold or something like that, because you can really customize. But then it's also nice to have things like this lemon. And I just love the lemon slices from Temu. They're a really good price. So I was going to put that lemon slice on there, but I just thought it was too much. So on my tier tray, I'll just put it next to it. And here, these are some another Temu item that goes with the lemons. They are little confetti, and they're made out of clay. And I'm taking the little slices and taking the yellow. There wasn't very many, so I took the yellow. And here is some confetti, also from Temu. And I'm taking the yellow little confetti and sprinkling that on too. And I'll also, after all these are done and dry, I will spray a coat of clear, and that holds the glitter on. I mean, some of the glitter and confetti does come off, but if you spray it, that really helps keep it nice and stuck together. And then here we have those little plastic balls again, and then I'm just taking the yellow, just like I did the other one, and picking out the yellows and putting those on. And as I was saying before, they're so much easier to work with than the styrofoam ones, the foam ones. And I'm just doing my skewer stick and sticking it into the cupcake, which is made out of that Gap and Crack and Gap, I think is the name of it. I'll also, that video, and as I said before, I'll link that video below. Gap and Crack, I think it's just a spray foam is what it is. And then here, I bought back my original glitter here, and I'm glittering this one with the yellow. And then later what I'll do is I'll put that yellow back in to my container. And I just love that. And here we have it. This is our lemon tier tray. And the tier tray is actually made from the laser also. And the hardware is purchased from Amazon. But here is our hot cocoa mug with the lemon topping, faux topping. We have a rolling pin with lemons on it. And what I did was that's AI that I made too, an AI pattern. And I just painted the ends the light blue. And here's how the lemonade sign turned out. And also the little, I'm trying to think of the name of them, the little stands that everything is on is from Dollar Tree. And actually Dollar General, some of them. The silver one's from Dollar Tree. And the beads are from Dollar Tree, and the lemons are from Temu. But that tier tray pattern is from Etsy, the actual tier tray, and I'll link that. Here's my lemonade stand. It is 3D printed, but it can be made from one of the coasters from Dollar Tree. They have I don't know what you would call it, a pallet. And then I took some wood and put that together, and I made this lemonade stand sign in Kittle. And I do have a video of how I make signs in Kittle, and I will link that below. This particular one is not made yet, but there is a file on a video on how to use Kittle. And then the lemonade is 3D printed. There's some resin there. There's some of the lemons in the little crate. And then that's actual lemonade, which after the video, I'm going to drink it. It's so delicious. And I really am so excited the way that this turned out. It's my first laser tier tray. On Etsy, we've seen different versions of the tier tray. The scallop edges are different from what we've seen, and there are holes in the scallop edges. And some crafters put little tags on them with words or phrases for the season or specific holiday. We still have so much more to learn about the lasering process, especially the painting process, and we'll continue to try different methods. We do like the Waverly chalk paint with the combination of the acrylology from Dollar Tree to add color to the white. But for now, we're excited on how this came out. We've always wanted a lemon tier tray for summer. We hope you enjoyed our video today, and if you make one, please tag us on Instagram at Tranquil Mentor so we can share our creations and get inspiration from each other. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.